Hello, 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 and welcome back to today's episode of Cannabis Marketing Live. I know I'm clapping. I'm so excited. It's been quite a week, so that we're going to keep this short and sweet because I really want to start getting into the interviews in the next phase, and I'm really, really excited that you're here today. So, welcome to, I'm going to fix my camera here. Boom. Okay. Welcome to Cannabis Marketing Live, you guys. All puff, no fluff. I'm Kendra Losee, the host of this new live show, and we are bringing you the brightest, the boldest, the most badass people, ideas, and technologies in the cannabis industry as it relates to marketing. Deal? Deal. You in? I'm in. I'm excited. Thanks for joining for episode 3. If you're watching the replay, I'm happy you're here. Be sure and put your comments in make sure and make your comments and likes and hearts, etc., etc. And please tell me what state you're coming in from, because I would love to, state or country, I would love to be able to really make sure that I'm addressing some of the marketing challenges and needs for cannabis in your particular state as we go through this process. So thank you. Before I jump into the actual topic today, I just wanted to remind you that next week we will have Christian Valdez from Traffic Roots joining us. I'm very excited to talk to him about digital marketing and some of the things that he's seen when advertising for cannabis clients and some of the ideas he's had and the tools that he's been able to create to allow us to be able to advertise across a broader platform and actually do paid advertising to targeted markets, to our target audience. It's very exciting, the technologies and things that he's doing there for the cannabis industry. So look forward to that. Be sure you're here and tune in for Christian's show when he joins us. So today we are going to talk about email. I know email is not terribly glamorous. People don't love getting it always, but the thing about email is people really enjoy getting and receiving email if it's something that's relevant or interesting to them. And that's something that we need to remember. And that's something that is really important as we're figuring out what we're going to put in our email, why we're sending it out. And it all goes back to really looking at our target audience. So today we are going to talk about a little bit about why email is important for your business, what you can do to avoid getting your email account shut down because you're cannabis. I do not want to hear about people's accounts getting shut down when it comes to email. It is crazy and there's no reason for it. And I don't know if you guys remember, but last year, one of the big publications got their email list shut down by MailChimp because they were using MailChimp and MailChimp doesn't allow for that. It's something that's so simple and can be easily overlooked. So I'm a big proponent in this regard of asking first and then going in and using it. So we're going to talk about email. And the last one is why we want to drive people to your website to capture their email. So on that note, why email is important for your business. It is really important for your cannabis business and for a couple different reasons, right? You have limited avenues that you can use to connect with people and to drive traffic and attention to your website and to your products and services, whatever it is you're doing. We know that there's limitations for social media. We talked a little bit about that in the last episode. We know there's limitations around paid media, and I know there are ways to get some ads through, and we'll look at that. There's a lot of rules around traditional media, which doesn't leave us a lot of ways to go about it. So we're going to be talking about inbound. So when you are actually driving your customers and pulling them into your website and pulling them in to see to actually see what you have on your website, which is, once again, just to call back to an earlier conversation, a channel that you own. So your website is considered owned media. For sake of organization, I just use that terminology. It's left over from lots of years of agencies where, once again, media and all the different digital channels were separated by paid, earned, and owned media. And owned media is your website. So no one can take that away from you. In that regard, you want to pull people in and use email to drive traffic to your website. So it's incredibly important to your business because it helps. It's another way where you might not always be able to use social media, or not everyone's always on social media. Sometimes they're checking email, sometimes they're not. But email is something, it's another touch point that you can use to reach your target audience. And that's incredibly important. And sometimes, usually they say it's a huge number of touches, but anywhere from 5 times seeing the same ad or seeing the same information repeat before you actually even notice that it's there. And that number is increasing because of all of the huge number of advertising messages we see each day. So email is really important for building that relationship, for driving traffic back to your website, and to engaging with your prospects and customers and getting people to come back to your store, your dispensary, getting people to buy your product again, building that trusted brand over time. And email is really an important component of that. It is lately being eclipsed by Messenger, and we'll talk about that another time because it goes back to Facebook and social media, but we're going to stick with email today. And so as we look at all the ways that email is important to your business, there's a few other things that I want to, sorry, I'm pulling up my notes here for a second. Okay. Email is that one thing that we really want to pay attention to. As I said, you're having, it's important for so many reasons for your business, and you really want to focus on driving that traffic in. Now, here's the thing. When I was, sorry, it's live, guys. I'm sorry. Puppy's barking. He's been so good, chewing on the bone, and someone's outside the door. So welcome to live. Here's my puppy. Okay, he's done. The people have left outside the door. We're all back to good. Oh, live shows. I love them. Okay. So here's the thing about email vendors. When you are looking for an email vendor to use to send your emails, first of all, don't use Gmail or Outlook or any of those because you're going to be limited on the number of emails you can send. There's no unsubscribe option for people. Sometimes you can make a mistake and put everyone's information in the to category instead of blind copying people where they can't see each other, and then you're giving away your list. There's so many reasons not to use Gmail or Outlook or just a regular email service. You do want to get a separate email for your company, whether it is Constant Contact, whether it is, I personally use Active Response. There's so many different options for you. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So a year ago, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago when I started working in cannabis, one of the first things I did was try and find an email vendor for my client. And it was something that I went through and I researched. I contacted each email vendor, any email vendor I'd heard of, to find out what they thought, and in fact, many that I hadn't heard of, to find out what was allowed and what wasn't allowed. And I will share that list on in the comments below. I will share the list in the description of this and on my blog. But here's the thing. What you need to do is make sure that you're using an email vendor that allows cannabis. For a while, one of them would only let us, had a legal limitation that you could send emails, but you couldn't show pictures of the flower. You couldn't show pictures of the plant. Another one, MailChimp, actually, which a lot of people use because it's free until you get to, I think, 2,500, 2,000 or 2,500 users. MailChimp is free, but MailChimp does not allow cannabis. Here's what they told me. They told me that they could allow it and emails to be sent, but they would have to approve every single email that goes out. No one wants that. I don't want that, and I do marketing emails to cannabis companies. I'm not even a dispensary or selling a brand. There would be no crazy things directly for sale that I'm trying to sell that are touching the plant. So do yourself a favor and skip MailChimp. All right? Sorry, MailChimp. No one wants to send every single email for approval. You just don't. That's completely unrealistic. Now, others that I've talked to require proof that the person is in the state that you are selling. So they want you, when you have an opt-in on your website, someone's giving you your email, to include what state or zip code they are coming from, because they're saying that the limitation is for your company is that you are only allowed to email people within your state, because that way you're staying within the state laws and not crossing over state boundaries for federal laws. Now, that limitation was a lot more common in terms of the conversations I've had with the email vendors. And some of them are starting to relax those laws. Like I said, the one that limited no pictures of the flowers or plants now allows whatever. And it helps, to be fair, that they're based in Denver, but it's something that you really want to check on. So I'll share the list with what I found, but I would like you to make sure that you are double checking with the vendor, because laws change, the company's rules change. But personally, I have found it to be a lot more helpful to ask ahead of time. Normally, I would say just do it and get permission. Don't ask for permission, just do it and apologize later. But when it comes to something as important as getting your list or account shut down, your Facebook page shut down, your email account shut down, and losing all of that data, don't ask. Don't ask for permission. Ask for permission. Don't apologize. It just isn't worth it. You want that information and you need it. So one of the other things that I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. So like I said, first of all, email is incredibly important for your business. Even now in 2018, it's really, really important. There's still newsletters that I look forward to every week that I receive and read, because it's providing valuable and entertaining information that's relevant to me. Boom. They do a great job. Austin Klein, his email list, if you're on it, it's great. Love getting his newsletters. It's a simple list of 10 things he's read that week or listened to or heard or what have you. Totally a sucker for it. He also has some great books that I will put links to below, but they're all around art and creativity and stealing art to make yours better and building off each other's. So it's really interesting. Book recommendation, newsletter recommendation. When you find the right newsletter, you know which ones you pay attention to, whether it's the skim, whether it's something that's relevant to cannabis, you know which ones you pay attention to and actually use those. Now, we talked a little bit about the email vendors. I will put that list below in the link to the list below in the description and the comments. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is driving people to your website. So how I look at your website is the hub and spoke model, right? So think of a bike, okay? And your website's in the middle of that. So your website's in the center, and all the different spokes that come out are how you're getting people to your website. One might be events, one might be social networking, one might be social media, one might be email, one might be grassroots, radio spots or something. One might be the bus that's running tours that has your signs all over the side of it. Those are brilliant, by the way. And so whatever it is that are your marketing channels that you're using to drive traffic to your website, those all become the spokes. And everything should be focused on driving to your website or driving to your store. And that's really what you want to focus on. And so email is a really strong driver of that, because once again, it reinforces what people are seeing and what they've talked about. So it's really important. The list with the most important information will be on my website. I'm actually keeping this short today. It has been a heck of a week, last 2 weeks, between Permit Patty. No one wants to be her. We, and you know, it's really important to have a social media crisis management PR plan in place. And we'll be talking about that at a later point. There's been a lot going on here in California with the July 1st deadline and stores having to discount products. You know, I heard 70% discounts on products to try and move them off the shelves so that way everything is legal and compliant. The latest marijuana business magazine showed that only 15% of the cities in California allow recreational sales. And that's a whole other issue because only 30% of the population live in those cities. And being in San Diego, I'm lucky that I'm in one, but at the same time, 15% out of an entire state of California is not very many. It's not very much at all. Like, how do you successfully roll out something when only 15% of the population is compliant, really, and actually allowing that? So it's interesting, and there's a lot going on here in California, let alone around the rest of the country and the rest of the world. So I'm going to keep this short. 4th of July week. Hopefully everyone had fun and is enjoying themselves. Join us next week where we will have Christian Valdez here from Traffic Roots talking about digital marketing. And let's find those ways how we can do marketing and advertising. All right? Have a great rest of your week. I'm Kendra. This is Cannabis Marketing Live. All puff, no fluff. Enjoy.